Welcome to the 3 for 3 podcast. Three regular guys just talking sports, bringing all our hot takes. Some of them are freezing cold. Some of them are scalding hot. Episode 35, boys. The conversation I want to start with is number 35, okay? Yes, I'm talking about Kevin Durant's old number in OKC. He rocked the 35 proud. I want to know, because this has been discussion as of lately, where does Kevin Durant rank on your all-time small forward list? Coach, why don't you go first?
I got him at this is hard. I got him at 2.
Okay, who's ahead of him?
LeBron.
Okay. Podfather?
That was such a crazy question for Coach. Who's ahead of him? All right, so I have Kevin Durant at 4. I have LeBron, Larry Bird, Julius Erving, and then Kevin Durant.
Okay, I have him for 3. So we got 2, 3, 4. I have LeBron ahead of him, Larry Bird ahead of him. Julius Erving, I have after him, and then Scottie Pippen and Dominique Wilkes are fighting it out for 5. I hope you guys let us know who was in your top 5 for small forwards. We're talking a lot about basketball and player movement, so that's kind of where I want to start. First of all, happy Luka Doncic Day. Today is 7/7. Happy Luka Doncic Day. I just want to throw that out there.
Can we not do that?
He got engaged.
He got engaged on 7/7. Let me tell you.
Did he?
He did. I'm tempted to get a 7/7 tattoo.
Where's he from?
That's a good idea.
Isn't he from
Slovenia.
like Ethiopia? Okay, Slovenia. Yeah.
Ethiopia. Wow.
The educational system has failed you, my son. I would like to apologize on behalf of the educational system. I'm sorry.
Do you teach geometry? So listen.
No, but I teach geography. Yeah. Gosh. Listen, Kevin Durant made waves in several different ways. Free agent, again, going to Golden State, ended up going to Brooklyn, and then demanded a trade and ultimately ended on Phoenix. It seems like we're going through the same exact thing now with Dame Dollar. Okay? So I have some questions about Dame Dollar because as a Celtic fan in my life, things have gotten very interesting. Jaylen Brown has not yet signed his deal, the Supermax deal, 5 years for $295, and they just recently made moves to acquire more second-round picks. So my first question for Coach first and then Podfather is, should the Celtics just go all in on Dame and trade Jaylen Brown?
Yes, I think they should. Definitely they should.
Podfather?
I do not think that Dame is as good a basketball player as Jaylen Brown, so no.
I love Jaylen's two-way ability, but I'm starting to be talked into it. I still think Jaylen Brown has another kind of level he can go up, but it wouldn't break my heart if they traded for Dame.
See,
now that being, go ahead.
With that, I want to. The reason why I believe that it's kind of is what might be why I say they should go in is because Tatum has shown flashes of seeing like, okay, I'm the alpha male, I'm the guy. He's not shown a whole season, most of the time, not even a whole series where he can do it all for a whole series. Jaylen Brown has never showed it pretty much ever. He just showed that he's had good games. He's not showed that he's going to be the alpha. He's going to be the decisive factor, nothing. Damian Lillard, on the other hand, has done it. Now, I am not saying right now which one's better or worse because I don't know. It's close in my mind. But for what that team might need, I believe Damian Lillard has the answer more than Jaylen Brown has the answer for it. That's just my opinion. It's what I think it is.
Podfather, you're shaking your head no, man.
It's a wing league. The NBA is a wing league. And so when you have the one thing that makes Boston so good and one thing that they thrive on is switchability. So pick and rolls, the way they defend the perimeter, that kind of thing. They're able to switch multiple players 3 players, 4 players in some lineups are switchable. You put Damian Lillard on that lineup, they're no longer that. And so
it's not a wing league. That's wrong. It's wrong. It's not a wing league whatsoever. Who won the championship this year?
Denver.
Who won it last year?
That would be
Golden State. Who won it the year before? You go down the list. The wings don't win championships. It's guards and centers and some superstars. Even go back to when the Lakers won. It was a big guy and LeBron. It wasn't two wings. There hasn't been a two-wing championship run for a very long time. It's
LeBron
been a
James and the
guard and a
Lakers.
wing. Yeah, but I don't consider it a two-wing championship. I consider it Anthony Davis and LeBron James, a big and a wing. I could see the one and then either a guard or a center. But you having two wings, it looks like it becomes redundant in some situations. Look at the Clippers. They're having so much success with those great wing tandems. I mean, I can't pick a team that does it that way. That's why it's I can't see it that way. Miami, you could argue, but honestly, they just had Jimmy Butler and Bam. So again, it's not two wings. It's not a wing league. Do you need a wing? Yes, they got one. My point is when they have two, that seems to not be a winning recipe. I haven't seen it win at all ever in a long time.
Okay, all right, man. You don't gotta yell about it. I'm good, all right. I'm just having a conversation, all right. My Celtic fandom, I just want to see, make sure. I think you hit something that was spot on though. Is a trade for Dame doesn't necessarily mean that they like Dame more than Jaylen Brown. It almost questions Jason Tatum's ability to be a number one on a championship team. But then I go back and go, Dame isn't necessarily a championship player on a championship winning team, though. He took Portland to a weird Western Conference Finals one time. Other than that, hasn't really done much. And yeah, I get his supporting cast hasn't been fantastic, but I don't know. Is the Celtics championship window, smaller if they trade for Dame? I mean, with Jaylen Brown, I think you can always pivot. All right, so I'm getting yes and no. Podfather, explain.
So right now you have two players. I would be hard pressed to even say that either Jaylen or Jason have reached their prime at their pinnacle yet. Okay, what you have in Dame is a superstar who's probably on the decline. I can almost guarantee next year he won't be as good as he was 3 or 4 years ago. It's just what it is, right? I mean, he's just an aging player. So when I look at it, I think right now you get the Supermax on Jaylen. I know he hasn't signed yet, but you sign the Supermax with Jaylen. I think at that point with two dominant wing players, the scary thing is Jaylen and Jason, I just said it, I want to reiterate, it's scary. They're not as good as they're going to be.
Which is very hard for you to say.
And that's wild to think about as a Lakers fan and crazier to think about as a Celtics fan because you guys are never good. And so there's a lot to be thankful for in Boston. Don't blow it up. I said it earlier many episodes ago. It's the wrong move.
Coach?
I said it's the wrong move, but the more I think about it and the more I think the previous 5, 6, 7, 8 championships, I see the situation. I see the silver lining. And what I'm getting to, I don't think the window closes. I think it opens because, again, I think the recipe is not right. Something is seemed wrong. There's no way any of us can deny that something is not right. And to your comment about Damian Lillard may not be the championship guy. Well, Chris Middleton was that guy to Giannis. And I think he could be better than Chris Middleton was to Giannis. I think he could be more of a factor in the game. And I think Tatum can be a top 3 MVP candidate every year for the next 10 years. So my point to that is Tatum's got to rise to that level. And then Dame can be the Middleton of that championship run. I more than think. But, and then we call championship run, but then Kevin Durant's 6 inches, half inch shorter on his shoe, and there was no championship run. But you know what? That's how the NBA works.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of other factors too. Joe Mazzulla, he wasn't supposed to be the coach. Ime Udoka was supposed to be the coach, which, again, Joe Mazzulla wasn't a top 3 assistant on Ime Udoka's staff. Okay, everybody knows who watches basketball is Will Hardy doing a fantastic job in Utah. Damon Stoudemire was the next guy up. He's coaching Georgia Tech. And even Carol Lawson was a top assistant compared to Joe Mazzulla. Now he actually has his assistants in there. I don't know. Podfather, did you want to swing back around?
I do. I want to say one thing really quick. I remember back in 2010, 11, 12, there was a wing pair somewhere southern in the United States where it's hot outside. And over by the water, somebody took their talents to a place. Okay. Anyways, what I'm saying is I think Jalen and Jason are having the same problem LeBron and Dwayne had in the very beginning of their team because they're young. They're not mature yet. They don't know which one of them is going to lead the team. They don't know which one should have the last shot. They don't know which one needs to be the voice in the locker room. They don't know which one is this, which one is that. And Joe Mazzulla is not the guy to point it out for them. I think there's a lot more. It's much different than what we're thinking. It's not basketball. This goes beyond basketball, and it's fixable because they are two superior talents in the NBA.
I think they've already tried to fix it. I think the two guys that didn't get along with Joe Mazzulla, that were very loud in the locker room, Marcus Smart and Grant Williams, are no longer there. So I think this is one of those times where they said, we're getting rid of the excuses. We're getting rid of Marcus Smart. We're getting rid of Grant Williams. And it's on you guys. Step up or we will change something.
And it's a shame because Marcus Smart's a top 50 player. That discussed before.
That night, you still couldn't send me anything. I don't think he's a top 75 player. He might not be a top 100 player. I made a list.
I realized how dumb it sounded after I said it. And so when you asked for something, I just ignored the comment.
Listen,
that's what happened. That's real. We're
3 for 3
real.
podcast. 3 for 3 podcast. Podfather, right? He is rarely right, never uncertain. Never uncertain.
But I can admit when I was wrong, and that was a dumb comment.
I appreciate that. Another team that was kind of making moves behind the background is we saw Chicago. There was rumors today about Zach LaVine possibly being. So my question is, what's a better destination, Boston or Chicago for Dame? Coach?
For Dame?
Yeah.
Boston, but it's not even close.
Podfather?
Chicago's a better basketball town, but I think Boston gives Dame more chance to succeed.
Yeah, I think we're 3 for 3. Boston is probably the place if he wants to win a championship. Chicago has a lot more problems. But that being said, there's a lot of different things in Chicago. I mean, Chicago has Zach LaVine to offer. They do have some draft picks. They've made some subtle moves. Ultimately, Dame wants to go to Miami. He's made that clear, right? There were talks about Tyler Hero being moved to Brooklyn, Brooklyn sending 2 picks, Yusuf Nurkic going back to Miami. Ultimately, if Dame does not end up in Miami, is it a failure, Coach?
No. For who? Dame?
For Dame.
No.
For Dame.
For Dame? No.
Podfather?
Yeah, I think so, because now he's going to ruin his reputation. The agent already came out and said, well, he's not going to be happy if anybody else trades for him. I think there was been rumbles around the league. And I think it's more of a failure on Pat Riley at that point, right? And so we don't get to say that often because Pat Riley's been a genius in the front office. But,
Yeah, what's great about this for me, seeing this unfold, is we are starting to see more of the Daryl Morey type GM. Mitch Cronin said, or Tim Cronin, it's either Tim or Mitch, whatever, from Portland said, I am not moving off of my price. If that means that he is here, he's staying here. This is the Ben Simmons demands a trade request and Daryl Morey saying, tough luck, unless I get X, Y, and Z. I'm not moving. Now, to me, this, and let me go on my soapbox. Let me relate the Dame drama to an essential freedom we have that I teach in my classroom, the freedom of speech. Now, the freedom of speech is so great because it demands freedom. You have to, if you want freedom of speech, you have to be willing to have the most ignorant son of a gun say the worst things about you, and you have to allow them to say that. Welcome to player empowerment, people. Okay? Everybody loves the player empowerment era. Player empowerment era is great. We love this. Finally, we're speaking up. I demand a trade. I demand this. Awesome. But if you want player empowerment, it also means you can't talk sideways. You can't look sideways when a team blindsides you and trades you to Oklahoma City or Detroit. That's what I think is going to happen with Dame. You might want to go to Miami. Might not be in the cards. We'll see. We'll watch as this unfolds in the next, 2-3 weeks, maybe sooner rather than later. For now, basketball is kind of on a standstill. I mean, it seems like all the major moves have been there. We're all kind of waiting for the next thing, okay? And then the next thing seems to be football. We're going to have a lot of football stuff coming in. And just like we always do, Podfather has some predictions about the NFC South.
It is time, man. I tell you what, it's one of my favorite times of the week. I get to come in, Podfather predictions. You guys get to tell me how right I am or how wrong I am. We get to have a little conversation around it. I love it. So anybody that's been keeping up with, and if you haven't, I'll let you know, we are now on to the NFC South. The NFC South. To me, that's crazy. We've been through the AFC, we've been through the North, and we're going to run through the South. But before we get into that, I was thinking we are in episode 35, and on behalf of 35 in the NFL, I think we take a look back at that 2000 Ravens squad, the one that held the Giants to 150 yards, so about, in the Super Bowl. That Ravens squad. What's one thing you know about that Ravens? First thing you think about when I say 2000 Ravens? Say it.
Trent Dilfer.
Defense. Defense. You guys just left me hanging, okay? Defense is what it's about. As a matter of fact, we know that great defense that they had. They called them the Bullies of Baltimore. The Bullies of Baltimore. And I love great defenses in the NFL, and I love great defensive nicknames. So that's what I want to do today in honor of episode number 35. Coach, I'll go to you first. Teach, I'll go to you second. I want you guys to tell me which team has the greatest defensive nickname ever in the NFL.
I got the Steel Curtain. I love it. I love it.
No, the Steel Curtain's a great name.
Yeah, I love it.
Those Pittsburgh Steelers, the Steel Curtain. What that is an amazing name. We still talk about that today. Now they're called the Picket Fence. Is that correct, Teach?
That offensive line, man. Picket Fence. Love it.
The Picket Fence. So, yeah, the Steelers go from the Steel Curtain to the Picket Fence. I love that. Defense, offense. Teach, who do you have as your favorite nickname?
Listen, in honor of my father's birthday, which is tomorrow, I'm going the Bermuda Triangle for the Bills. It was a Bills defensive trio of Fred Smerlas, Shane Nelson, and player-turned-coach Jim Haslett. The Bermuda Triangle where running backs went to disappear.
I think you made that up to give the Bills some credibility on defense. Heard about it all the time with my dad. All the time. All right. So from a Bills fan to a Dallas Cowboy fan, I'm going to go with the Doomsday Defense in Dallas as the greatest nickname ever for a defense in the NFL. Just a few quick little gimmies, little shout outs really quick. Monsters of the Midway, those 80s Bears. They were great. How about the Purple People Eaters? There's even a song. I don't think it's about them, but those flying purple people eaters. You know what I'm saying? These are the Vikings, though. Anyways, that's it. Episode 35. Let's get to it. So, a few things I want to remind you guys of about this NFC South. Okay? And this NFC South is a mess. As a matter of fact, I think we talked about it last week, and somebody said, well, maybe they might be the worst division in football. Oh, I said that. You guys agreed with it. That's the Podfather prediction. And it may be. But here's what I do.
AFC South or the NFC South? There's something about the South. They just don't like football as soon as you get out of college.
Well, the AFC South does have that young kid who's probably the third best quarterback in the NFL. So, NFC
CJ
South
Stroud?
Almost. But the NFC South doesn't have anybody like that. But let's take a look at this. So what I have put in the notes is this. This division looks drastically different from a year ago. Drastically. As a matter of fact, no team in this division went over 500 last year, with the Bucs winning the division at 8-9. Brady, what a way to go out, right? Have your worst regular season ever as a full-time starter and still win the division. You know what I mean? Like, if that's not Tom Brady-esque, I don't know what else is, right? But I think that kind of explains it. So Brady's gone, Baker's in, Derek Carr is now a Saint. I've always said I thought he was a Saint. We know his mom's probably a Saint. My mother's a Saint. And now Derek Carr is a Saint, okay? Bryce Young, welcome to Carolina. Welcome to the NFL, young buck. Can you see over the offensive line yet? I don't know. Is he wearing stilts, high heels? I don't know what he's playing in. Hopefully those cleats are tall. And then Atlanta. Atlanta has some young guys, and I'm not sure that they're ready to make a leap yet, but we're going to get into why. Okay? What do you guys think so far? Tell me your first thoughts on NFC South. I'm going to start with you, Coach. NFC South. When I say the word, what do you think?
Who cares?
Fans. There's still fans in the NFC South.
Some of them, yeah, sure.
You've seen people do the Dirty Bird before.
Yeah, that was the 80s and early 90s. It was a long time ago.
Do it. Yeah. You know, Deion Sanders dancing across the end zone. Teach, what do you think? NFC South. Jamal, say it. You can finish it.
Jamal Anderson, baby, leading them to the Super Bowl with Chris Chandler. I think what comes to mind is it's young quarterbacks and reclamation projects. So you're getting this mix of Atlanta and Carolina both going young, whereas Tampa Bay and New Orleans are trying to find something in a former number one pick and a former number one guy in Vegas.
Yeah, that's good stuff. No, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. And that's kind of going to define the NFC South this year. You mentioned Atlanta. I want to start with Atlanta. Okay? So Atlanta, we know what their biggest problem's been the last 2 years under Arthur Smith. The defense has been atrocious, okay? They've been the number one rushing team in the NFL. But their defense has been atrocious. But this year, Ritter's going to start full time. I think that's going to be an upgrade over Mariota. They drafted a young buck in the draft. Gosh, what was that guy's name? He's projected to be the number 3 running back in fantasy football this year. He's yet to play it down in the NFL. That guy's name is Bijan Robinson. That running back room is busy. They still have Tyler Algier. They still have Cordero Patterson. Those guys are going to run the ball, and they spent majority of their cap room on the defense, which has been an issue. Okay? DraftKings has this team over and under in wins at 7.5. 7.5. I want to see if we're 3 for 3. So we'll go to Coach first, then we'll go to Teach. DraftKings has them at 7.5. Are you taking the over/under in wins for the Atlanta Falcons?
Under, because of Pitts. That's
under because of Pitts. Yeah. You don't believe in Kyle Pitts. Okay. Teach.
I have under. I have 7 and 10. I think this offense is going to make strides with Ritter, Robinson, Algier, Pitts, and London, but I don't think it's enough.
All right. So you have them going the exact same record as they went last year at 7 and 10. Now, I do like that they had the easiest schedule projection in the NFL, 32 strength of schedule, but I also have them going under at 7 and 10 for the Atlanta Falcons. So we are 3 for 3 on the Falcons. We think we're all taking the under. We don't like 7.5. We're all taking the under. Coach, did you have a projection for them as a win-loss total?
I was thinking 5, but that's just my opinion. I didn't want to, whatever. I just can't stand Kyle Pitts. I get personal into some stuff, and Kyle Pitts made me as mad as the Baltimore Ravens offensive coordinator last year. So I just can't stand the guy. I always end up with him, and I'm always get the same stupid result every year. What a talent. He could do it. He's projected high. No.
Yeah, you don't draft well, but that's not our problem, right? That's a favor for us. So, but speaking of offensive coordinators, I love that you mentioned that because there was an offensive coordinator who went to head coach, then got fired as a head coach, and now he's in Carolina. Now that guy's in Carolina, and he goes by the name is Frank Reich, okay? Frank Reich, not Coach Frank. He is Coach Frank. He's kind of Coach Frank. Not our Coach Frank, but he's kind of like Coach Frank. Coach Frank Reich. So let's talk about the Carolina Panthers for just a moment. New coach, new quarterback. Does that mean new things to come for Carolina? So they hired Frank Reich. They traded up for number 9 to get their guy. They got Bryce Young. Carolina went all in on a quarterback this year. And then they shipped out DJ Moore. And they replaced him with Adam Thielen. What are we doing? DJ Chark? Okay. They did draft Jonathan Mingo. Teach, I think you were a fan of Mingo, right? Mingo was his name-o. I remember you said something nice about him before. I think the greatest addition they had all year was Miles Sanders. I think that was a sneaky good pickup. I like Miles Sanders as a Cowboys fan. It was always tough playing Miles Sanders. Now, really quick, this team, 7-10 last year, okay? 27th strength of schedule. DraftKings has them at 7.5 wins also. So 7.5 with a rookie quarterback and a new head coach. Coach, you taking the over-under on 7.5 for the Carolina Panthers?
Taking the under. I got 7 wins.
You're taking the under at 7 wins. Okay, awesome. Teach, what about you?
I'm not sure that Frank Reich is a good coach.
Ooh.
Couple that with a young team, and I'm going to take the under 6-11.
Wow. Yeah, hey, we're 3 for 3. I think you guys hit the nail on the head. I question Frank Reich. I also think they're very young, and I'm not sure they have great outside weapons to go along with that new quarterback. So I also am taking the under. I went with Coach at 7 wins. I'm going 7-10 for Carolina. Last year they finished 7-10. I think it's very much the same thing for Carolina this year. Okay?
I got a question for Carolina. Is Bryce Young going to live up to the hype? I mean, we spent a lot of the draft process getting into, hey, should it be Stroud? Should it be Young? Wonderlic came out. Should it be Levis? Should it be Young? And then they fully came out about a week before the draft, and it was Bryce Young's our guy. We look for accuracy. We look for, moxie. We look for leadership abilities. We're going with Bryce Young. I mean, he's thin jointed. He's short. He's 5'10", 5'11". I just don't know that works.
I'll start out, and then I'll give you a chance also, Coach. I think in today's NFL, slight frame plays a little easier, okay? The quarterback is very protected. And I think the kids are just more natural athletes nowadays than what they were back when I was watching. I mean, if Troy Aikman was 180 pounds, they'd have killed him. You know what I mean? Like, and they almost killed him at 230. You know what I mean? Like, so I think it's a different NFL, a different style of play. Will he live up to the hype? I don't think he's going to be the best quarterback out of the draft. That's my opinion. I have a favorite. I'm not going to give that to y'all yet. I'm not going to give that to y'all today, but I do have a favorite. Coach?
Yeah, I think he's going to live up to the hype to an extent. Is he going to go down? I mean, I don't know if he'll ever finish the career as a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. That's my only thing. So if that's the hype, then it's a no. But I do like him. I like his attitude. I like what he brings to the table. You're right. Thin frames they handle better nowadays. But I also said the same thing about Tua before he got decimated. So I just don't know. But I also say he ain't playing those defenses in that division either. So there's multiple ways you can look at it. But I'm a big fan of their mental game especially an NFL player has a strong mental game. And that's all I'm hearing right now, raving of how well he's handling everything, how his swagger, everything walking into it. I'm a really big fan of that. So yeah, I believe he'll live up to the hype of my expectation of what he'll be.
Yeah, that's all good. I don't believe it. Top 5, yeah, I think you're right. He's not going to be a top 5. I don't know. We'll see. I know who my favorite is, but you guys don't get that right now. That's for another dinner time. That's supper on the table, brother. So I want to move on. I want to talk about who I think is the most interesting addition into this division this year. Because I've been sold on the guy for a couple of years. I think he's a better quarterback than what was shown previously. I think head coaches were bad where he was previously. I think the organization was bad where he was previously. And I'm really excited to hear you guys take on the New Orleans Saints. I want to lead it off with this. Carr's definitely going to be an upgraded quarterback. Whether it was over Jameson, whether it was over Red Rocket, Andy Dalton, he's definitely going to be an upgrade at quarterback. I have a couple questions. Can Kamara return from that knee injury? That's number one. Is Michael Thomas going to be healthy? And Dennis Allen. I think those are 3 legit questions. Those are my questions. I believe Olave can be better with a better quarterback. I believe we're going to see more out of him this year than we did last year, and that's saying a lot. I don't know that Michael Thomas can be healthy, and I think Olave is going to need somebody on the other side. Dennis Allen? Kamara? I don't know. I don't know. Now, they do have the 31st strength of schedule this year. Super easy. Last year, they were 7-10. DraftKings has them at 9.5, the highest of the whole division. Let's see if we go 3 for 3. Coach, where do you have them?
I got them under at 9 wins.
Under at 9. All right, teach.
Listen, this is the top of the mediocre. Derek Carr is good enough to get you to the playoffs, and Dennis Allen wins the Owl Award for most people saying who? So
Yeah.
I have them 9-8 going under.
You have them at 9-8 going under. We are not 3 for 3. I have the over for New Orleans. I have them going 10-7 this year in New Orleans. I believe in Derek Carr. I just do. I don't know why. I just do. Okay?
Is there a bigger
That's
bust
all.
in fantasy football than Michael Thomas?
Oh, I got one for you. I read a post the other day that DeMar Hamlin's going to play football before Michael Thomas, and that's just amazing to me. That's outstandingly awesome. Great story. Wow.
That's pretty crazy, but I think the biggest bust in Kyle Pitts was a pretty big bust, to go back to what Coach said. That was pretty big. Jonathan Taylor was a very big bust last year.
Darren Waller's right there too, though. So
yeah. But Taylor, I think, would have been my number 1. Jonathan Taylor, biggest bust of the year. You guys don't think so?
I think it's Michael Thomas just because we kept hearing he's 1 week away. He's 1 week away. So everybody held on to Michael Thomas stock until it was too late.
it was a lot of the same thing. I felt the same way about DeAndre Hopkins. Like, oh, he comes back, could be good, and then he never came back.
It's true. I do remember that.
Michael Thomas is a terrible ex-girlfriend. Okay,
Maybe
like you try to talk yourself into it over and over again. Like, no, she said she's changed, bro. Like, she's not going to be crazy. Like, you ask, them back together, and you're like, oh, I'm looking forward to this. And then she sets your sofa on fire. Okay, and you're going, no, this I should have known. It's over. It's always over. And then the next week you go, man, she was really good at cooking though. I really liked that pasta. She baked me a cake. Your boys are like, dude, don't do it. Don't do it. And you're still going, okay, maybe one more week, maybe one try. Then we're going to try it different. Michael Thomas.
You're staying warm at night with a red flag blanket. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
His name from now on is Michelle until he breaks that title, until he stops becoming the ex-girlfriend.
Yeah. Michael Thomas, the ex-girlfriend. It is what it is, okay? Moving on from Michael Thomas, and speaking about ex-girlfriends, ex-wives, Giselle, okay, let's move on to Tampa Bay. Okay, speaking of exes, okay, going to Tampa Bay. Not only does he have an ex-wife, but he has an ex-football team. Okay, Baker has a few.
He's hanging out with Kim Kardashian now. They have
More
parties
power,
with them.
More power to him. Baker Mayfield has a couple ex-girlfriends too. Not ex-girlfriends as like ex-girlfriends, but like ex-girlfriend football teams. And he finds himself in team number 4 in the last couple years. And he finds himself replacing the GOAT, the GOAT of the NFL, Tom Brady. But what's up with Todd Bowles? Can the guy coach without Bruce Arians? Can he? Am I asking myself? If you guys don't have an answer for me, I'm begging. Somebody tell me. Maybe this year will tell me. Maybe this year. There's still a Devin White saga going on in Tampa Bay. I just read about it the other day. Is Devin White getting traded? Is he going to play? What's he going to do? I don't know. But I think he's a top 5 linebacker in the NFL. That's what I do know. And if you're not keeping him happy, you're losing out. Tampa Bay, hello. So there's lots of questions going on in Tampa Bay this year. Strength of schedule is at 22. They won the division, as we said earlier, at 8-9 last year. DraftKings has them from division champs to division bottom. DraftKings has them at 6.5. But there is no Brady. Right, Giselle? There is no Brady. So, coach, teach. Where do you have Tampa Bay finishing this year? Over under 6.5 wins.
Oh gosh, this is hard. I got them over at 7.
Baker looked good with the Rams. There's a ton of receiving talent there. This is my only over for the division at 7-10.
Can the wide receivers stay healthy? I say no. I do like Baker, but I'm taking the under. I'm taking the under at 6-11 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because I don't believe in Todd Bowles without Bruce Arians. I just don't.
We're starting to hone in on your predictions, though.
We're not.
We're all around you.
You're all around me. You're all around me. You're all around me, but don't try to guess mine. Try to get yours right. I want you guys to get yours right.
I have a hot take for Tampa. Okay? This is my hot take because the more I looked at it, this is the Dos Equis team. They are the most interesting team in the NFC. Okay? This team could be better without Brady. Was Brady holding them back? I mean, he had a spaghetti noodle arm by the end of his tenure there. He looked very scared to death. And I get the offensive line wasn't great, but I think he was holding them back. I think the wide receivers they have, and Godwin and Evans, I think they're better suited for Baker. Brady has always been this poor decision kind of quarterback. And I don't mean he makes poor decisions. I mean, he avoids them. Now, I can't think of a more opposite, maybe Jameis Winston, right? A 30-30 guy, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. But I think what this team needs is a gunslinger. So I do think Baker could give them more than Brady did. Am I wrong thinking that?
Yeah, I think you're wrong, but it's your opinion. You're allowed to have it.
I mean, you picked under and then spoke 3 minutes about how you think they could be better.
I picked
over.
No,
he took the over. He
took over. He had the over. Oh, he took the over. Oh, yeah, he took the over like me. I don't. Yeah, but it's still less wins than they had last year. So, I don't. No, I don't think so.
I love the thought. I don't agree with it, but you'll probably prove us both wrong, and you'll probably be right this year, right? Watch the Bucs win 11 games, win the division, run it away, and Baker Mayfield wins most improved player in the NFL in year 4. You know what I mean? Like year 6, whatever it is.
That would be the biggest story in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Talking about biggest stories in the NFL, probably not Baker Mayfield, but it could be. I want to ask you guys this. What do you guys think? If we looked at the NFC South from today forward, what's the biggest storyline going forward? Now, I'm going to go to you first, Teach, on this one. Biggest storyline going forward for you in the NFC South?
I have to. I'm going to do the first one, though, but maybe we can circle back for honorable mention. My biggest story for the NFC South is, can Alvin Kamara return to Fantasy Superman? In 2017, 18, and 2020, he was a top 4 fantasy running back, and he was deadly out of the backfield. And now Superman has turned into Clark Kent. So I hope he can kind of pivot and return to form. I think having Jamal Williams there is good, but I really want to see Alvin Kamara, his legal troubles hopefully behind him, onto that Marshall Faulk, that LaDainian Tomlinson type player who can catch 80 footballs as a receiver and also rush for 1,200 yards and give you maybe 20 touchdowns in the season.
Yeah, that's good. I like that one. Coach, what do you got? Biggest storyline in the NFC South.
For me, it's a little more personal, more than it is widespread. And the question for me is, will I care enough about the Carolina Panthers to go watch an actual NFL game with my sons and bring them to their first NFL game? Because that's the only thing I care about in the whole NFC South. Nothing else bothers me. I'm not intrigued by anything else. The intriguing part about the NFC South is that all the teams that get to beat up on them. So can the Carolina Panthers be relevant enough for me to want to purchase 4 tickets and travel 4 hours to go watch them play? I don't know.
Thank you, Coach, for making the NFC South segment about you. I love it. It fits you. It's just who you are. I'm going to go with my most interesting storyline going into the NFC South this year. It's going to be, is Derek Carr a top-tier quarterback in the NFL? And can he prove that the Raiders were just a bad organization and it wasn't him? I think he's in a prove-it year. New Orleans is a fresh home. I can't wait to see what Derek Carr does in New Orleans. I think I'm going to like it. I think you're going to like it. We're going to see. So, Teach, you're more worried about fantasy football. Coach, you're only worried about yourself. I'm going to worry about a player, and that's where we're at in the NFC South. Now, teacher said you may have a second one. Did you have a second one really quick?
I do. Just really quick. Atlanta made the wrong pick. Going back over this, I love how you have stuff segmented out for us, and it always leads me down a rabbit hole of draft stuff because I'm intrigued by younger players. Listen, there was a lot of draft capital that Atlanta had, and at the 8th pick, they picked Bijan Robinson, and everybody's loving that right now. Hey, this guy's amazing. He's game-changing. He's the next Saquon. He's the next Jonathan Taylor. I'm not sure that they shouldn't have picked someone like Jackson Smith and Jigba, who went much later. There were a lot of other wide receivers. This is before the wide receiver run went. They could have also picked Peter Skoronski, who's arguably a top 5 prospect and the best offensive lineman. They didn't make the flashy pick. Okay, or sorry, they did make the flashy pick, and instead of picking some solid foundation, which I think Desmond Ridder desperately needs. Desmond Ridder could be a middling quarterback because he doesn't have the weapons, instead of a solid quarterback that you need to make the playoffs.
And just to add to that, it's not like Tyler Algier didn't average 5 yards a carry last year almost.
He had 1,000 yards. He 4.9. I saw that same stat. I was like, this is ridiculous. I don't understand. They have Cordero Patterson, like you said, Tyler Algier. I don't understand the pick. This was, hey, we don't want to piss off the owner, and nobody's going to make fun of us if we pick Bijan Robinson. So we'll just take him. Such a stupid pick.
I think they got caught up into the year because, they rushed the ball more than any other team in the NFL. They were 4th in rushing yards total last year. And so that method, but I think they were already built for that. They already had Tyler Algier. They already had Cordero Patterson, who's a dual threat out of the backfield. I thought they were set up perfect for it. Now, I think Bijan Robinson is an amazing pick. I think he has a chance to be the best running back in the NFL. But I agree with you. I think Desmond Ridder already had running back help in the backfield. You could have got him an elite weapon to go with Drake London. You could have got him some offensive line. I love the conversation.
This is a team that traded Calvin Ridley. Okay? They traded Calvin Ridley, and you know what? If Desmond Ridder struggles next year, they'll say it was a 3rd-round pick. Oh, well, we'll either draft somebody high or we'll go out into free agency and bring somebody else in.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, look, moving on from that, I talked about my biggest stories, Derek Carr. I want to go back to Derek Carr real quick. We're going to finish this up really fast, but before we do, I want to play a little for 3 for 3 Derek Carr edition. You guys want to play that? You guys good with that?
Is this starting a franchise? Who do we have?
Today, you're taking over a franchise. You can pick Derek Carr or any of these players. Who are you picking? Let's see if we're 3 for 3 on any of them, okay? I'm going to go to Coach first every time, teach you second. Derek Carr, would you rather, 3 for 3. Here we go. Derek Carr or Desmond Ridder?
Carr.
Ritter's only played 4 games, and he played 1 less playoff game than Derek Carr. Get out of here.
I'm going to go Derek Carr on this one. We're 2 for 3. Derek Carr or Bryce Young?
Young.
B money. Give me the money.
I'm also going to go Bryce Young. We're 3 for 3 on this one. Derek Carr or Baker Mayfield?
Carr.
Give me Derek Carr. We're 3 for 3. Derek Carr or Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson.
Russell, the hustle and bustle of muscle.
Give me Derek Carr right now. So we're 2 for 3. Derek Carr or Mac Jones?
Derek Carr.
Nobody cares about the Mac Daddy.
No, nobody does. I'm taking Derek Carr also. That's 3 for 3. Derek Carr or Kenny Pickett?
Derek Carr.
Kenny, 2 gloves with a picket fence.
No, I'm taking Derek Carr for sure. They're 2 for 3. I love the picket fence. Derek Carr or Jimmy G, the sexiest man in football? That's what they say. I don't know. That's what they say. Jimmy G or Derek Carr?
Carr.
I'm taking Derek Carr also. Sorry, Jimmy. You got a great chin, but I'm taking Derek Carr. Derek Carr or CJ Stroud?
Stroud,
not just because he went to Ohio State and coach loves him.
I'm also going to go with CJ Stroud on this one. We're 3 for 3. Derek Carr or Geno Smith?
Carr.
3 for 3. Carr or Jones? Daniel Jones?
Carr.
Give me Derek Carr, 3 for 3. Derek Carr, Deshaun Watson?
Give me that Deshaun Watson.
I'm taking Derek Carr. We're 2 for 3. Derek Carr, Tua Tagovailoa?
Carr.
Tua doesn't know where he is.
Oh my gosh. I'm taking Tua. We're 2 for 3. Derek Carr or Matt Stafford.
Stafford.
Stafford all day.
I'm taking Derek Carr. Stafford's injured. We're 2 for 3. Derek Carr or Dak Prescott.
Carr.
Dak.
Taking Dak Prescott, suckers. Dallas Cowboys. We're 2 for 3. Shame on you, coach. Again, thinking about yourself. You know I needed to go 3 for 3 on that one to pick me up, to make me feel better. You ruined it. You took it. Whatever. That's it. Hey, guys, really quick, just a quick recap for you guys on the NFC South. Okay, so Podfather Predictions has it going, and you guys are pretty similar, but Podfather Predictions for the NFC South have the Saints winning the division at 10-7. Then we have the Falcons and Panthers both coming in at 7-10 with their young quarterbacks. And then we have the Buccaneers bringing up the rear with Baker Mayfield at 6-11. That's the NFC South for episode 35. Voila. Now we got to move on from the South. We'll move on from the South, and we'll move on from the NFL, and we'll go on. Coach Frank, I know you had some things. I was saying your name earlier, and I kept saying Frankly, Franklin, Franken, Frankings. Frank, why do I keep saying Frankings? I can't get your name right. All I thought about all day was your power Frankins, bro. That's all I thought about. Because you got him so wrong last week.
I don't know. I will admit there was some things that were kind of questionable, but I got the power Frankings again. We have a newcomer. We have a new entry.
MLB style, right?
Yeah, MLB power Frankings. We have a newcomer into the top 3 because that's what we rank here. Little bit different. So we'll get right into the power Frankings. At 1, I have the unbelievable Atlanta Braves. At number 2, I have they just don't quit Tampa Bay Rays. And number 3, which a lot will admit should have been 3, the Texas Rangers. What I get right or wrong? Podfile, you agree or disagree?
No, I'm going to agree with you this week. Much better way to take my Orioles out. We did get a 14-1 win last night. I can't remember who we were playing, but I like that one. You killed this one.
Teach.
Yeah, I think you hit a home run with the power Frankings this week. I think there's a monster waiting in the wings at 4 with the LA Dodgers, but I think the power Frankings are absolutely a home run.
I wish I would have said that. Oh, you hit a home run with the power Frankings MLB style. I may take it. Don't ask me first next week, because I'm going to say it if you hit a home run.
Well, let us know what you think. If you disagree, agree, you want your team in there, put it in there, let us know. But one thing I want to talk about, how good the Atlanta Braves have been. When I looked at this thing, I was starting to look at some stats that were staggering. So as a team, from my understanding, and don't kill me on this internet, the Atlanta Braves, for a 27-game stretch, slugged .599.
Since June 2nd.
.599. The funny part about that, they did as a team. There's only 3 players in the major leagues that had a higher average than that. Not the team, in the league that had higher than that. I don't remember seeing many more dominant stats over a month than that ever. And I mean, I'm talking about, I watched the Yankees in maybe the greatest season by any team in the history of baseball, and that's incredible.
Can I
that
shout?
Stat right there is amazing.
Let me shout out a herding company right now. Let me help them out. ESPN has it written in the MLB rankings right now. Shout out ESPN. They need a little help. We're here to help you at 3 for 3, man. Hey, Stephen A., hoping you don't get, but, here we are. He won't. And I like Stephen A. Love Stephen A. Great commentator. Does some good stuff. In a 27-game stretch that began on June 2nd, the Braves as a team have batted over 300 as a team. Not only that, but they averaged 2.5 homers and 7 runs per game since that in this 27-game stretch.
That's just outstanding. And I can't stand the Braves.
Listen,
but
small ball is back in everywhere in baseball except for Atlanta. Small ball is back, unless you're in Atlanta. Real quick, I just want to get this off my chest. Hey, Podfather, who plays first base for the Orioles?
I don't know.
Shut up, then. I don't want to hear anything about the Orioles. 14-1, 14-2. What was that score? Shut up. Shut up to me. I don't want to hear nothing from you.
Coincidentally, he's the only player on the team that hits above 300, if I'm not mistaken.
It's Rutschman,
He's the
right?
only one. No, he's the
catcher.
I don't know who they are. So listen, all I know is I checked the scores on my Bleacher Report this morning because it gives me the alerts on all the teams that I follow. And I got angry the other night because I saw that the Yankees won the first 2 games against the Orioles. And I don't care about that much about baseball. I like to hear you guys talk about it, and I like to chime in here and there. I'm an NFL, NBA guy. That's what I do. That's my sweet spot. That's who I am, right? But I know how big of fans you are. Those sorry Cardinals and those bludgeon Yankees that just took a whooping last night, that's what I know. And so I want to make sure that we just have those conversations when necessary. I don't care who played. We won.
Incredible hot take artist, Podfather. Incredible hot take. He does not need to know anything about it in order to have a hot take. I love it. ESPN might hire him. We might be 2 for 2, Coach.
Hey, it could be. Could be. But listen, speaking of hot takes, I have the Texas Rangers at 3, and I thought you guys might kill it this week because, honestly, this past week, they came down to earth. Their starting pitching started to unravel. Is it a blip? Is it not? But they had over 5 as a starting staff. And it made me start to question, but then I look at the record, what they've gone through, who they're going to play. I couldn't take them out of it this week, but I would not be surprised if I saw them eradicated next week in the rankings. So we'll look at that next week. But getting into that, I don't know, everybody here, raise your hand if you're a dad. So one thing that I like doing, Coach Frank, is that me coaching, I actually been having something internally happen. We discussed last week about trying to make baseball better, trying to compete with NFL and NBA. The problem is I think it's a fundamental root thing that has to happen. They have to make baseball, like baseball's played by a lot of kids for the first 2 or 3 years. And then right around 8 to 9 years old, it drops off by like 65%. Only a third of the kids kind of stay playing. It's the most amazing number in any sport. Because the funny part about that is more kids start playing basketball and football around the same time. Coincidence? No, it's not. It's a complete understanding of what's happening around that age. And so for me, that makes me think that kids 7 to 8 years old, which are the primary coach pitch years for kids, there's something happening. There's something missing. So I have a series I want to start called Make Baseball Fun Again. Make baseball fun again. It is a situation that I was thinking of how things to do.
MBFA. Get a hat. MBFA.
No, keep the hat. I don't want the hat. But MBFA, Make Baseball Fun Again. I got a couple things. I got what I like to call, Teach named it, my starting 9 this week. I got 9 ideas. We're going to run through them real quick. I'm going to spit them off at you guys. We'll discuss. All right?
Teach hit a home run with that one.
He did.
It was a little league home run though. There was like 4 errors. I just kept running.
Definitely inside the park. Yeah.
Here's a Podfather led one that he brought this up, and then I didn't like it, but then I modified it. Every parent should have to help ump a game with their child when their child is not being a part of that game. So they should have to ump, but I modified it by making sure that their child is not a part of that game, so it won't be a bias situation, and they can feel what it feels like to not have a dog in the race and have to ump a game fairly. 2, coach pitch should have walk-up songs. I think that every kid should have a walk-up song. It's just how I feel about it. Is what it is.
Can I go back to that first one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Parents are spiteful. So I would almost think you would have to make it to where parents can't even coach in the same league. Because I know some parents would be like, I hate this team so much. I don't care. I want the other team to win. Yep, he was clearly out. Show me the ball. Safe. Nope, safe.
You know what? Let's adopt it. I'm going to adopt it right now. Let's go in. Let's go and throw in there because I agree with it too. I can also see a parent being that greedy where they want the number 1 team to lose. They call some plays unfairly so their team has a better advantage to win. I'm adopting the rule. We can make changes like that here on the podcast.
I just heard it and I already love it. First time I've ever heard it and I love it.
We are 3 for 3.
We are 3 for 3.
We are. So making it a fun again, I think coach pitch across the league, MLB get involved, whatever they got to do, put money out there. Every kid should have a walk-up song because I think that's some of the funnest things I've ever seen for kids to go through.
I absolutely love it, and I want to know what your walk-up song would be. I have mine.
My walk-up song.
My walk-up song would be either Simple Man, Leonard Skinner, or Dropkick Murphys, Shipping Up to Boston. Just makes you want to drink a pint and punch someone. I don't know if you can do that in Little League, but I'm not going to try either.
Drink a pint of Kool-Aid and punch something, not someone maybe, but not in violence. Podfather, you got a quick walk-up song?
Yeah, mine would be like Rough Riders Anthem, DMX. You know what I mean?
See, mine would be Batters Up from from Nelly and them.
The St. Lunatics.
So it has to be. Got to stay on brand. So I love that idea.
Fish don't fry in the kitchen.
And saying beans don't burn on the grill. Anyways, so next one, what I got is I believe that as a country as a whole, we should stop all massive trophies being given out. I think from when I was a kid, I thoroughly enjoyed actual trophies. I think there should be, even in coach pitch, league MVP. I think there should be, I don't mind a sportsmanship award. I think there should be defensive gold gloves for kids. So you can encourage defensive games and defensive situations. And I also think they should also give them out individually for teams. There should be a team MVP because that's really what happens in the major leagues and everything. They do it in the minor leagues all the time. I think they should have that. I think they should bring back the awards. They should encourage kids to try hard, to do different things. I think it'll make it fun. It'll make it exciting. Excuse me, I got a cramp in my leg. That's why I'm squirming. But I think
bring back competitive awards.
Competitive trophies, not just because I played trophies.
Yeah. My favorite thing. Yeah, my son has been doing basketball camps all summer, and my son is not an athlete. He is more mathlete than athlete. But let me tell you, Mason, him coming home and saying, "Hey, my team won the 3-on-3 tournament. Not everybody got one of these certificates, Dad. This isn't a participation award." I was like, "Oh my God, I'm doing something right as a father," because he said that. As a coach, as a teacher, as a father, that's the kind of attitude I think our country should instill.
Take the entitlement out of sports and everything, right?
You know what, Teach and Podfather? Yes, I agree. That couldn't be more. He couldn't be more of the perfect example of why I think that's important. Because in life, the moment you turn 18 or 17 and you leave school, nobody gives you a participation trophy. It almost shocks the system. Everybody believes they deserve the max raise. Everybody believes they deserve the next promotion, and they feel slighted when they don't get it. But some of the older heads understand what it feels like, and it's like, well, they got it, I didn't. Who cares? Keep moving, keep trucking, go harder. And so that's part of it.
I like your next one though too. Your next one's kind of linked up with that.
Yeah, the individual team awards. I believe that's where even the worst team in the league has an MVP. They have a sportsmanship. There is those two. Even I've been on leagues where we weren't the best. We didn't win the championship. I was on some of them growing up in baseball, and I played 11 years of it.
Probably a lot of them.
At Coach Pitch, no, not a lot of them, actually. We were pretty good. My brother was the pitcher, and I was the catcher, so we were a pretty nasty tandem. But I remember MVP and sportsmanship award individually per team was very, very important. I do completely enjoy it. I think this is where you can, because this guy on your team and they won it. So that's where I feel like it's important for the kids that are not there to root for them friends on. And honestly, it's a well-deserved award on most 99% of the time. Guys?
So when I had to rebuild the Cumberland baseball program years and years ago, we had a problem with kids coming out to play baseball because unlike other sports, baseball is the only sport where you fail individually. Okay. I struck out. My team didn't strike out. I struck out. You can get lost on a soccer field. You can kick the ball out of bounds and nobody's going to be like, what was that idiot doing? No, everybody's going to be saying, oh yeah, good play, good play. That was a great defensive move. On a football field, you can block somebody from your own team, and somebody will say, oh, he did his job, right? Baseball, it's a series of one-on-one matchups. And how I grew our baseball program to include more people, to get more people to come out, is I had fun awards. I took three little kid gloves and spray painted them gold and gave out 3 gold gloves for the best play, the best overall defensive, and the great defensive effort. And I spray painted 3 little bats silver and made individual silver slugger awards for the highest batting average, the highest slugging percentage, and I think it was the most patient batter. And those were given out. And you know what? That's what kids are going to remember. They're not going to remember, dang, we lost to this team 4-2. But you know what? They're going to show their kid, hey, in middle school baseball and JV baseball, I won the Silver Slugger Award. I still have it. So that we need to make it fun. And I think that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, I agree. Pod, you got anything on that?
No, you guys are hitting it. You guys are killing it.
Well, the next one is one that I've been ramping up in my head, trying to figure out. Right now, in every sport, not just in baseball, every sport, there's a shortage of umpires. Part of the reason why I hit on it with the parents, but the other part is there's not a shortage of kids trying to go to college. And things that college resumes could do is they look for people to volunteer, so on and so forth. But even at that, they don't just have to volunteer. They can still be paid and put on a college resume and look good. It's an internship. If there's some classes involved with the teaching knowledge of the game, I believe rising juniors and seniors in high school should have a program where they can volunteer on those Saturday mornings, most of the time when baseball is being played, to be umpires, to learn how to handle crowds, to do different things. And we should have an internship type situation where you have a select choice of people, individuals, be able to come out and ump games. And I think that it will help out college resumes. I believe it solves a ton of problems. Plus, those guys, those young kids will look up to them, especially if they know baseball. But a lot of times, if they know baseball, they're playing baseball. But point is I feel like it could be a necessary, it's a 2-win type of situation in my mind. They don't have to be the most baseball person ever. It could be whatever you like it to be, as long as they can be able to stand on a field and handle calls and get some questions back. You know, they got to have some pads on, a little bit of shouldering they're going to get every once in a while from the coaches, because everybody questions and answers. So what do you think about that, Teach?
I love it as an idea. It's never going to work. Being around high school kids, middle school kids all day, every day for 100 and plus 200 something days a year, it's volunteerism is going out the window. If I can go to a job and get paid, I'm going to go to a job and get paid. And I don't have to deal with idiots who are drinking in the parking lot and walking to their kid's game and cussing me out. No, I would love for it to happen. Kids do not think that way. And another thing, this generation, and I hate to be old man, but I'm going to be old man, right? This generation don't feel like they need to get a driver's license. This is the weakest generation of non-drivers I have ever seen. It's a bunch of idiots who just assume people are going to drive me around places, so I'm just not going to get my license. So I don't know how they'd end up at the game, drop off, pick off, but volunteerism is out the window.
But doesn't that go back to the entitlement conversation we just had a few minutes ago? And I'm not trying to I'm not bashing this new generation, because I have young nieces and nephews, and I believe hey, look, it's just different times, right? But I think a lot of us do with the entitlement. Oh, they'll take me where I need to go. They'll do this. They'll do that. I'm not a burden to anybody. They have to take me. You know what I mean? It's necessary.
It's wait to the last minute generation. It's, hey, I don't need it. And then all of a sudden, well, I got a job. So I guess I have to go do it now.
Well, I did at Element. I don't know if you heard of a teach about maybe them getting paid for it, just like regular umps. I don't know if that changes your mind or sways you a little bit about it, but that was part of the situation, is they would get paid to do it also. But it would be counted.
A lot of money for a county.
Yeah, but I mean, they pay refs, umps usually. They're supposed to be paying umps for every game no matter what. So my point to that is they're paying one person or the other. This develops kind of a system, is kind of the idea. I get what you're saying, though. It's a lot of hoops to jump through. It's a lot of hoops to jump through to make it happen. Maybe this ain't the exact idea, but maybe there's something similar out there where there's a 2-win type of situation where it's a win-win no matter what. So maybe we can revisit that one coming forward. From there, I got one that's a little personal. I won't get into the next story, but coaches should not be allowed to vote for all-stars for the league. From going county to going little league, whether it's little league Babe Ruth, Dixie Youth, whatever you have, Dixie Boys, whatever it is, they should not be allowed. And that's a little bit different than, it's definitely not the quota. The quota 100% is all the coaches, every league, that's who votes. That's who decides it. I think there needs to be an individual system process where you have players you have a board that looks at they go to some games and they look at stats and then they vote. I believe that it's more situational based that way. You're still going to have stuff happen, but I think that every coach is fighting for their players no matter what. That's the idea of it. And you're going to do whatever you can to get your players in. If you kind of have a centralized system, I think that it works a little bit better. I think there's a lot less daddy ball votes. I believe there's more fairness that happens because that's what I'm trying to get away from is by doing that. Because most time coaches have their dads. I was a coach and my kid was a player. So I believe that every coach pretty much has that. As kind of is. If you take that out of their hands, it takes the pressure off of them and it puts it on a different element. And then the coaches can freely coach and have fun with the kids. Teach, what you got on that?
Two things. It's a coach's responsibility to get as many all-stars as possible. That's what you're doing. And that's on every level. Second thing is there's a very easy way to fix daddy ball of, hey, I'm voting for Jethro, even though he can't hit nothing because, well, dadgummit, his dad's a good old boy. I love him. Me and his dad go to the neon light and pour a couple back. No, I don't care. All right. You make it a blind vote. You take away the names of everybody. You have them submit the names and stats. And then you have somebody, a commissioner of the league, which every league should have a commissioner, or somebody in charge of it, just takes away the names, jumbles everything up and say, here you go, you're voting on this. This is what you're voting blindly on stats. That's it. Then you can still have the coaches vote, but nobody knows who you're voting for. So you might think you're voting for Jethro, but you're probably not.
Podfather?
No, I think that's brilliant. I love that. Take the names out of it. Blind vote. You're voting solely on the performance of the person.
Here's my issue with the whole situation. The moment you go to middle school, no longer do coaches ever vote for anything. So why are you doing it now?
They still vote.
The coaches vote in middle school? Okay, well, I past high school, it changes. It doesn't happen like that in the major leagues. Why isn't it why isn't a centralized system down low? Because it takes the guesswork out. Because as a manager, you're voting for every one of your players. As a coach, you're voting for every one of your players. Even if if the only players that were picked on there, I'm still voting for my guys. At the end of the day, it still has the problem of I really want my guys in over everybody because it's your kids and you got to look at the parents in the face and it's a lot of things that happen. So I don't know. We'll go on to the next one, but maybe one we revisit and maybe come up with a different idea. For me, I think this should be an automatic thing in every sport. Players should automatically get food when they play a game. Hot dogs, chips, and a drink, burgers, chips, and a drink. They should get a meal every single time. I don't care what the cost. Figure it out, county. Have a fundraiser. Do whatever. And the point where I'm getting at with this is that parents pay for the food that goes one way or the other. Have them pay a little more. Give them food. It becomes an expectation that happens at a game. Again, it's bringing fun. It's bringing enjoyment to the kids. It makes them want to come back. A lot of these kids, especially in the county that I live in, we have a very poor county. Their parents don't have the money to do stuff like this. Sometimes I've heard teachers tell me, and Teach, you can chime in if you can, but I've had teachers tell me that a lot of times on the weekends, kids don't even eat. That Monday morning they come in and they haven't had a meal for a day because they didn't have money or for whatsoever. This should never be a situation when you're playing with heat in baseball, especially football in the winter too, when they're hot and whatever. It should never be a situation. They should automatically be given food from the county. Give them a meal, call it a day. It is what it is. It don't cost that much. It's a nice little side note, but these are suggestions. Got any quick takes, guys?
I do.
Yeah.
I will not stand here as you try to socialize concessions. Okay? Listen, let's leave the concessions to the parents. If you're a parent on a team, figure out a schedule, do something like that. Stop socializing concessions. What do we give them next? Huh, coach? What's next?
We give them chips. We give them chips, gummy bears, and a drink. That's not a meal.
Listen, you go right ahead and have your taxes increase because of that. Mine aren't. Leave it up to the parents. Let the parents do some parenting. Bring your kid some hot dogs. Get with the other parents.
No, sorry. Won't agree. That's one of mine. That's my sticking point on one of them. Another one should be before the season.
That's a dangerous game you're playing, okay? That's
It
a
is.
very dangerous game. Hey,
I don't think
I
he.
get to eat for
I don't-
free. I'm
I don't
putting
think he
back
thought-
like at least 10 hot dogs,
No,
12
Yeah.
bags of chips.
So,
it's
but I don't think
understanding
he
you
looked
get a
at the
dog, a
economic
bag, and a
backlash that
drink.
this would cause in
It's as simple as that.
county-wide through all the counties, right? And so all the leagues, all the different sports leagues and everything going on, I think there's definitely some economic things there. Hey, look, and I want to say this. Now, I've seen some kids not eat, but I've also seen mom and daddy at the store buying cigarettes and alcohol, and let families prioritize family, right? And so I'm not saying any kid should ever go hungry.
Listen.
I don't agree with that, but that's up to you as a person, right? You want to give them $20 at the gas station, do it. But yeah, I think leave that out of sports. Can't give away hot dogs at the Orioles, at Camden Yards. You're not doing it.
You're politicizing a hot dog, a drink, and a soda, or a hot dog, a chips, and a soda. No, I'm not going to do this. I won't stand for it. This is just a simple meal that happens that they should be automatically given because they're a part of a league, because the league cares about you and thinks about you. They want you to have a meal.
Listen,
I'm part of a job. They don't feed me.
The county that I work for is 71% free and reduced lunch. Okay. As a coach, anytime we are going anywhere, all right, if it's a long drive, we stop somewhere, and I'm the one buying a lot of that food. So I'm not going to sit here and listen to anything about, well, they're not eating. No, the kids are eating on the weekend. The parents are feeding their kids on the weekend. I am telling you, I've studied the statistics. Okay, your county, my county, your county's a little bit more wealthier than the county I work at. So no, these kids have every opportunity. There are programs in counties that will feed these kids. I promise you.
I'm not solving world hunger. That's not the goal. The goal is just to give them a stupid hot dog. Calm everything down with all that. It's not that serious.
Socialized concessions.
No. Clip it, cut it. You're wrong. All right. Anyways, on to the next one. I believe the league should get together across the nation. Everybody. And they should have a situation where everybody has a set color. They get to pick between 3 different jerseys that they want. If you can set this up, I believe the kids vote together. They get what they want. Jerseys will be ordered. I have a strong belief in kids picking their own fashion right now. I think that if they do this, again, this is a jersey they keep. You pay for this jersey as a parent. This is an article of clothing that the kid gets. They should vote on it, and and guess what? They're going to have a little more respect too, and they're going to have a little fun picking out the jerseys. You're going to see some flashy things, whatever. You give them certain 3 choices. You pick the color, and then they know the color going in. Give them an idea. Give them a vote. Let them have fun. Again, this is about making it fun. This is not about anything other than just making it fun and more enjoyable for a kid.
Is this happening in November, like election time? We're coming together nationwide to vote on a jersey?
It's individual team votes. They should get together. They should make it mandatory among leagues that they have the situation set up. You give it 3 choices. You let the kids make a decision, and then you move it on from there. Because I guarantee right now, they take the names, they take the things. They don't know the color. They don't know anything like that. They vote they go get 2 or 3 weeks after that. They pick the jersey they want, or they order the jerseys. Why do they get to pick? The kids should have a choice. Again, it gets them more involved with the game. It gets them liking. It's just another thing they can do to like the game better. Teach, you got anything?
Having to order jerseys, it's a very lengthy prospect. I mean, the process is ridiculously long, especially if you're getting cool custom-made jerseys. So I think I would rather see, hey, let's organize the league in February or March before the season starts, have the kids sign up, have them select which jersey they want. That way you can order it plenty of time ahead. And I think just make cool jerseys. I love that. Make them cool jerseys. But I don't know that I want, the parents dealing with that. Listen, jerseys are going to be expensive then. Which, as long as the parents are cool with that, that's fine. Again,
we can't even feed them. Now we got to buy them jerseys. Listen, hey, listen.
Jersey either way. You're buying the jersey either way.
Stop yelling in the mic.
The thing. You're buying it.
So listen, I don't know. No, you know what I thought was cool in Little League? Like, I thought it was cool picking out the number. Now we got to go to jerseys. Like, let's let them pick a number. Pick a number,
No.
be happy.
No, that's why I said it. Make it a unanimous decision. I just like the wrinkle that it provides. And then I have one more, and I believe this is one of the more important ones. Every league should have a World Series. Every league should have a county victor, not from the season standings and not a 1-day playoff scenario. You make it a 2-week or a week and a half scenario, whatever it is, and you play each other a certain amount of games, best out of 3, figure it out. Then you have an evolution situation where they play, and then you have the World Series for the county. Advertise it, make it fun, put it on the radio. I don't care what you do. Make everybody come together. They figure it out, have fun with it. Again, this is, along with the trophies, this sets up a clear precedent for winners and losers. And I believe in America, in this country especially, and with this game, it is needed to have somebody, if they worked harder and they're more talented, guess what? It's exactly what's going to happen in the real world too. And if you didn't like that feeling, then you better go to the drawing board and get to work. And I think that I like just a World Series. I'd like a World Series because right now, the way it's worded, the way everything is in the league that I'm in, the regular season champion, it's what's important. We did an end of season tournament for one day. The kids loved it. Loved it. We lost in a walk-off in the championship. Couldn't care less. Had the most fun. That was just one day. I would have loved to seen it happen for like a 2-week period, a build-up, a drama, and then an unfolding. I think that would have been amazing. I would have loved it 10 times more. Just an idea. Teach, what you got?
2 things. I think it devalues the regular season. I think if you say, no, we are going to have a World Series, love the idea of calling it a World Series. Love the idea of the top 2 teams are playing in the World Series on this date. Hate the idea of let's do it 2-3 weeks ahead of time, a 3-game series, because I think it devalues it. I think where we're seeing problems is kids aren't showing up for regular season games. That's my issue. If you make the regular season, a more important of, hey, little Billy, we need you at every single game. You know, we're going for that World Series. I think it allows it to give baseball the value it should have. And then have a parade, have everything for these are the 2 teams meeting up in the World Series. So that's the only thing I'd change.
The problem with the showing up for me is it's already like right now the regular season champion is the winner of the whole thing. The coach becomes the head coach of All-Stars.
Right. I don't think it should be that way. I think it should be top 2.
I don't know how much less we can make the regular season important, and we still have the problem. So I think if you make it
top 2, I think it's great. I think top 2.
I'm not going to argue with that. I can adopt that as a rule. Just make it the top 2. Have maybe a 3-game series, one day. You have it back to, whatever, best out of 3. That's what happens a lot. If you're going to make it one day, I like the idea of having it more. I could see where it could get boring. And so everybody coming together for a 1-game World Series play, why not? Why not have some fun?
I think it's exciting. I think the problem you're going to have is like running into everybody uses the same fields for the county. So This is one of those things where if you make World Series one day, everybody's coming to that field. You're going to have your T-ball team, your coach pitch team, your kid pitch team, your majors, your minors and your majors. So I love the idea of let's celebrate these kids. Let's get them out there. Let's show them off and have it a 1-day fun day of baseball event.
Not tripping. Podfather, you got anything?
No, you guys killed it. You guys covered it all.
All right, guys. So let's recap real quick. Make baseball fun again series. I want you guys to pick one of the ones we went through. All right, Teach, I'm going to come with you first. Which one did you love?
Well, listen, I think my favorite is probably coaches not involved in voting. Make it a blind vote. Again, coaches should not be involved because then you get into daddy ball issues where, hey, I have 9 all-stars that I'm voting for on my team. And you go, bro, your second baseman was picking his nose the whole game. He wasn't doing anything. Get out of here.
Podfather, what you got?
I think my favorite. I had 2 that were my favorite. I love where parents should ump, but walk-ups. I'm ready to hear DMX coming out of the batter's box. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, do it.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I love the walk-ups too. I will have to admit I love the individual season awards and team awards. I'll put it all together. Just the award situation given out. No more everybody gets a trophy. I didn't get a trophy when I was younger. A person won MVP, it wasn't me. A different person won sportsmanship award, it wasn't me. And I remember the next year I won the sportsmanship award and I was proud of it. My point, I think it's that. But I do love the walk-up songs just as much. I think it's all good things. If you guys got any ideas out there, fans, let us know what you think. Comment in the section. Let us know if you got something new. We'd love to hear from you. And I got one more quick rant, and then we're going to finish off the episode. Those Cardinals, man. I swear, every time where I start to feel better, they were a 6-4 run. I was like, all right, we got a 500 record. We're going to get somewhere. Maybe we're making a comeback. Maybe they're getting over this crap. And then I saw the worst loss I've ever seen in any team, on any baseball team the Cardinals have ever been on. I can't remember a loss more embarrassing. We came back 3 different times in the game to take the lead or tie the game. And then we're going in the 9th inning. We're down by 1 run. There's a runner on base. Jordan Walker down 3-2, 2 outs, hits a 440-foot moonshot to take the lead by 1 on the top of the 9th inning. And then we play the Florida Marlins at that. They're not like they're that good.
Miami.
Whatever. Who cares? The point is, it don't matter who we play, because then we go into the bottom half where we have our closer. Hicks has become the guy. He's done great. But just like everything else that happens with the Cardinals, the ball's hit. They got 2 runners on. There's 1 out. He's got to throw. He's hit to him. Did his job. Ball hit lowly to him. He's got the world. He could have beat the runner if he ran there. But you got Goldsmith on there, so I'm going to toss the ball. He airmails it 60 feet into the outfield. 2 runs score, we lose the game on the most embarrassing thing I've ever saw in anything I've ever seen. And it was a synopsis of the thing. Before they won last game, because we're taping on Friday, they were actually on pace to have, I have it down because it was 96 losses. I've never seen the Cardinals be this bad. I'm not done with them because I'll be with them forever. This is the most embarrassing thing I've ever watched in any part of my sports. I've never had a team that I believed in so much be so bad and so pathetic, and it be their own fault every single time.
Will they end up in Tennessee?
Shut up. Anyways, beyond that non-baseball understanding of who the Cardinals really are, this is a 3 for 3 podcast. It's episode 35. We love you guys. Let us know. Comment, like, subscribe, share, do all the things. Hit us up. This is from Coach Frank, the Podfather, and Teach.